I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
This is Snowman in the Morning, and it begins now.
That's a spicy meatball!
Need a little excitement?
Excuse me, bitch?
You know what? That makes me mad.
I ask myself, is it worth? I answer myself. Get the memo!
Good morning! Cal, changed a lot of stuff this past over the weekend. A lot. I had to change things. Which, you know, I got the suggestion of going back to 2 hours, but I said, nah, I'm going to stay with 3 because I feel I can bring more, especially now with my part-time job and me agreeing schedule-wise, where I can come in right to the studio from work and, just knock out the show. Just knock out the show. I kind of had that endurance test proven Friday when I went to Sarah's place, and she said, "Help me rearrange some furniture." Sure, I'll do that. Know what time I got to bed? I will say a little after 4:30 in the afternoon. I kid with her about that. And Sarah, you know I love you. You know I'll do anything for you. All right. This Express Edition is brought to you in part by Cleaver Supplements. If you would like to be a sponsor of this here program, drop a line to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. Give me a couple of minutes. Indulge me, if you would, please, to let y'all know what is going on here, why all the changes are being made all of a sudden, and why I'm tying it into Super Bowl week. And let me indulge you with a little bit of my health journey to kick off the show. Like I said, this is going to be an Express edition. There's going to be minimal Super Bowl talk this week. And I say minimal for a reason, because I'm going to have some guests on throughout the course of the week to help break down the conference championships, the who, the what, the why, the where, the what the hell, and all that stuff. So it's going to be minimal this week, but next week our Super Bowl coverage will kick off on Monday, be a full 3-hour show. I got a ton of guests planned, so just indulge me for a minute here. The first thing I want to touch is the health journey. And why am I starting with this first? Because I got inspired. A friend of mine started a health journey Facebook page. And I've known these two a while. And I said, you know what? I think that's how I'm going to kick off the show. And then seeing Sarah and how she's handling her health journey and getting everything back together and avoiding carbs and all that good stuff, I said, you know what? I think that'll be a great way for me to kick off the show. So let's do it. I admittedly have been struggling with drinking pop or soda, whatever the hell you call it, for the better part of 3 years. And I struggled with it after I gave it up for a full year and then got roped back into it in 2015 after I met Jody. And yeah, I'm going to be calling out some people this week. They can think what they want to think. I don't care. I really don't care. But yeah, I let myself get roped back into drinking pop. Just drink one and the habit. No. Not a chance. I didn't realize how much pop I was drinking. I didn't realize how much of that I was putting into my body. Even the last year I covered Marquette Catholic. They were bringing me Pepsi every game I was there. 2 of them. Then I tried to wash it out with 4 or 5 waters, and it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. And like I said, I struggled with it for 3 years. The better part of 2.5 to 3 years. So I made a decision when the year turned over, when it turned to 2018, that I would give up drinking soda and drinking pop once and for all. In fact, what I'm working on doing is giving up sugary drinks, period. Because it keeps me in a place where I don't want to be. It just keeps me in a place physically, emotionally, where I don't want to be. And that is stringing toward depression. When I was battling depression, I was a very emotional eater. Period. I was. I never gave myself a cutoff time. I never gave myself a start time. I never gave myself a solid schedule. After I met Sarah, all that changed. And she said, you have to cut your carbs. She said, you have to get rid of pop. She gave up pop 3 years ago, right about the time I restarted. You know, every now and then she'll take a sip, but knowing me, I got to do this cold turkey. Because if I don't do this cold turkey, then there will always be the temptation of going back to it and saying one won't hurt, then one will turn into two, then two will turn into three, and three will turn into me getting back into the horrible state that I was a few years ago. So this is cold turkey. This is it. January 3rd of this year, I drank my last soda. And it was while I was knocking down. Here's the hard part. It was while I was knocking down a calzone that Sarah had gotten me. Actually, it was part of a meal I got for the family. But you know, I'm content. I am absolutely content with that. I am content with how things are going right now. The fact that it's the first major obstacle in me getting off these last 120 pounds that I've been wanting to take off for 3 years. And it's also put me in a position to prove some people wrong, but I don't give two shits about what they think. I give a shit about what my family thinks. I give a shit about what my family says. And they said, Snowman, keep going. We got you. You know, Sarah looked me in the eye and said, I knew, just as you believe in me. That's all a brother needs. That's all a snowman needs. And I am going to keep going. With this, with my part-time job, using it to invest in what I'm doing, everything. I'm going to keep going. Not going to pop. I got a few other things that I want to do. Some of them are yet, but just know I got quite a few things in place. Quite a few. And I'll say this right now. If people don't like how things go, then the hell with you. I don't need you in my life. You either are for me or against me. And I got enough of a long list of I don't give a shit about them. And I never give a shit about them. Period.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Bazinga! Did you not get the memo?
Rolling right along here on this express edition of Snowman in the Morning, presented by Cleaver Supplements. Pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough. I warned you guys ahead of time. Very, very minimal talk of the Super Bowl this week. But beginning Monday, we're going to go all over the place as we count down to the big game at U.S. Bank Stadium on February 4th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, did y'all see, I know my Golden State Warriors suffered a loss on Saturday night against the Houston Rockets, but the Houston Rockets are the second best team in the world, okay? And they beat the Warriors in Oakland. But if you expect Houston to beat Golden State in a 7-game series, child, please. But the game I want to talk about, and the team I want to talk about, the game I want to talk about for teams that I called early in the season won't see the playoffs. Now, I might be wrong, but if y'all expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to come out of the East playing the way they did on Saturday, you are crazy. They got blown out. They got beat up. They got punked. They got smacked in their own arena by the Oklahoma City Thunder. 148 to 124. Let me give you the scoring line. And Oklahoma won 3 of the 4 periods scoring-wise. 43, 33, 38, and 34. That's for Oklahoma City's 148. 24, 36, 34, and 30 for their 124. Everybody was excited seeing or hoping to see LeBron James hit 30,000 points. I beg your pardon. They saw Paul George erupt for Carmelo Anthony erupt for 29. Steven Adams erupt for 25. And Carmelo Anthony and Steven Adams each had 10 rebounds. Russell Westbrook, the reigning MVP, got 23 points and dished out 20 assists. Russell Westbrook dished out 20 assists. Now, I know I've had my criticism on Russell Westbrook. I know that. I've made that clear. But 20 assists, got to give it to him. Russell Westbrook has been balling out. Not so much this year as last year. But, man, they have been balling out. Let me give you some other numbers. Oklahoma City took 100 shots, hit 58 of them. Know what that percentage is? I'll tell you. 58%. 46 from three-point range as they were 14 of 30 from three-point range. 14 of 30 against a team that is so defensively lacking. Oh, y'all didn't hear me. Let me say it again. This Cleveland Cavaliers team is lacking defensively. This is the oldest team in the NBA with a couple of new parts that were broken when they got them. And they expect this team to compete? Are you kidding me? Isaiah Thomas is just is just finding his groove, only 7 games in. When the Cleveland Cavaliers were on that 12-game winning streak earlier in the year, let me pose a question. Did they beat anybody significant during that 12-game winning streak? Huh? You got an answer for me? Huh? No, they did not. When the Cavaliers were on that 12-game winning streak, were they tested by anybody? Anybody? No, they weren't. When the Cleveland Cavaliers won 12 in a row, and everybody was ballyhooing them, saying, oh, they're back. They're back on top in the East. Did y'all really expect them to stay there? Got anything? Huh? Got anything? Nope. I didn't. I'll tell you what. The first real time that the Cleveland Cavaliers were tested was Christmas Day in Oakland, when Klay Thompson hit a game winner, or what turned out to be the game winner, a shot that keyed a 7-0 run, and the Warriors once again beat the Cavaliers. That final was 99-92. I got a couple of other questions here. Do y'all really expect Cleveland to just turn it on? Because if you expect it to, if you really really expect it to, I got news for you. It ain't going to happen with this team. Now, LeBron James is going to be LeBron James. I dig that. But Kyle Korver disappears. Derrick Rose disappears, and that's been proven. What the hell is Jay Crowder going to do in key situations? Tristan Thompson was given a big fat contract and has done nothing. J.R. Smith, they brought him back, and he has done nothing. He has done nothing. In fact, I'm going to say something that's probably blasphemous to a lot of Cavalier fans, but I'm speaking dead on truth. The only player that they brought in during the offseason that's actually doing something for them is Jeff Green. Kevin Love hasn't even been consistent. Not since that winning streak. And you're going to depend on these guys? Now, I'll say it again. LeBron's going to be LeBron. I can have all the criticisms I want, but LeBron's going to be LeBron. LeBron's going to get his. Okay? LeBron's going to get his. Let's just say it the way it needs to be said. But what do you think is going to happen come playoff time? When these guys have so many miles on their legs, it's not even funny. Because they're putting the miles on right now. They're putting the miles on right now. Trying to keep up with some of the highest scoring teams in the league. Including the Golden State Warriors, who are number one in offense. You actually think this Cleveland Cavalier team is going to be able, not to mention prepared, to keep up with a few teams that love to run? That's how you beat this Cavalier team. You run them. You get on the floor and run. And you run a good offense. Okay? Make them play defense. Move the basketball. Kind of like Golden State figured out. You don't want to be stagnant and let this team play iso ball. You don't want that. You got to move the ball. Everybody's got to touch the ball. I mean, they see San Antonio tomorrow in Texas. And last year they got walloped. In recent times, lost by 10 to Golden State, as mentioned earlier. Barely pulled out a win against Orlando after having a huge lead in that game. I think it was a 22-point lead. Led by 22 at Indiana, lost by 2. Lost by 34 in Toronto. Lost by 28 in Minnesota. Held off Orlando and won by 4 in Orlando. Lost by 14 in Boston. Blew out the Portland Trail Blazers by 17. But all this stuff started after they barely held off the Bulls, and the Bulls had a big lead in that game. Lost by 7 against Golden State on Christmas Day. Lost by 14 in Sacramento the game after that. Lost by 3 in Utah. Squeezing a win over Portland. I'm going forward here. Lost by 14 in Boston. Eke out a 4-point win against Orlando. And then lost by 28 in Minnesota. And 34 in Toronto. And by the way, What did they score in those? What did they score in those games? After they scored 131 on January 6th, listen to this. 99, 99, 95. 3 straight games of under 100 points. Then they get 108 in a loss to Golden State, 104 in a win against Orlando, and 124 against Oklahoma City. And you think 124 would be enough for them to win, but no, they lost by 24. I'll say it again. I've had my criticisms, and I'll always have my criticisms of Oklahoma City. But Oklahoma City played team ball for once. And now they go to Texas on Tuesday to play against San Antonio before they host Indiana, they host Detroit, and then go to Detroit in a home and home. I don't see them winning any of their next, even though Detroit's in a tailspin right now. I don't see them, and they host Miami to finish off the month. They are not going to win another game in the month of January. Because if you expect this team in the way that they are made up right now, and I'll say it again, as much criticism as I have about LeBron James is balling. Give credit where credit is due. But if you expect this Cleveland Cavalier team to play this way, uninspired, no defense, no rotation, no footwork, no movement on offense, it's still iso ball / hero ball. It's still clear one side of the floor and let someone go to work. It's not going to work anymore. And it's certainly not going to work against some of the teams they're going to face up until the end of the month. They got a bone to pick with San Antonio for the Spurs kicking their ass in Texas last year. They certainly got a bone to pick with Indiana erasing a 22-point deficit and winning that game in Indianapolis. Then you see Detroit in a home and home. They may steal one of those 2 games. They may steal one of those 2 games. But if they don't, and they see Miami on the 31st of this month, and you expect them to win that game? Hell no, I don't. I don't expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to win another game for the remainder of this month. They got 5 chances to prove me wrong. And if they do, I will say so. If they win any game at the tail end of this month, I will say I'm wrong. And Lord knows I'm not perfect, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. Hell, Tom Brady has proven me wrong 100,000 times. But I don't think I'll be wrong on this one. I don't expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to win another game this month. They have 5 remaining. And after the uninspired performance this past Saturday against Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City's got a few issues of their own they seem to have worked out. I'm telling you right now, it's not looking good for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It just isn't. Period.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Next! What? Are you kidding me? Need a little excitement?
You know what? That makes me mad.
This is the mental game coach, Shane McGowan, and he joins us now via the Cleaver Supplements hotline. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you, my friend?
I'm awesome. I have another wonderful day, all set to get ready for the activities of the week.
What's on your schedule this week? What you got going?
Well, you know what? Every weekend, I mean, I got to catch up on all the sports naturally of everybody that's played, my clients that I have and deal with and work with, and now I get it all caught up, and we talk about how their performances were and what they're expected to be doing this week and how they felt and everything like that. So, I mean, that's kind of how my days go.
When you sent me your bio, I knew I had to have you on because that's one subject that I wanted to talk about, but wanted to do it with the right person, and I'm so glad you approached me on this. And one of the players that you hit me with immediately, he suffered a ruptured Achilles on Thursday night. That's Richard Sherman. How is this affecting him being out for the remainder of the season and the rehab that he faces and coming back?
Well, you know what? I mean, when you're dealing with injuries at any level of sports, it's always a dramatic thing. And now you start getting to the pros, and now you're also dealing with an injury of being one of the best, if not the best, player on the defensive side for your team. It's a huge blow, not only to yourself, but also to that organization. They now have to figure out, I mean, you always hear the story, well, next man steps up and plays, and yes, that is true to a certain degree, but you don't take that energy away from what that player brings night in and night out. You don't take away that team leadership that player brings, and that's the thing that they're going to be missing. And him being the competitor that he is, he itches to get out on that field and do his job and do it the best he can. That is really hard for him. Coming back from injuries can always be one of the most difficult things. Especially if it's an ACL, like a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, who made his first appearance after a long, tremendous rehabilitation. And he was so emotional. The man had tears in his eyes because he's finally getting another chance on that field. And that's what it's all about. So that type of emotion, but that desire and drive to get you back out there is huge. And that's what Richard Sherman is going to do that. There's no question about it. But right now, when you're in the middle of the season, and you go down like this with a season-ending injury, it is very, very difficult. And I know that team is going to rally, but he's going to be in that locker room as soon as he gets this done on his cast and just saying, listen, guys, we got this, and continue on. But it is a very hard thing, but he's the type of guy with the mindset of mental toughness to get himself ready for next season, but he's got to still rally his troops while he's there, too, to help them out.
What made you get into this line of work? What was the one thing that went off in your head and said, you know what, this is where I can succeed and this is where I can help people?
Well, you know, I mean, I was a former player myself. I've been in sports all my life, so I understand what it's like to be in that situation at times. And back in the days, you really didn't have anybody to talk to. I mean, coaches would just say, just get out there and hit. You're fine.
Exactly.
You know, suck it up and all this other stuff like that.
Right.
So, you know, you kind of look at it and say, all right, well, you know, as time goes on. And then my son actually was who more or less introduced me. I used to coach him in high-performance taekwondo. He was a national champion, international champion. But then his skills were great, but he started losing that drive mentally. And I thought, what something else is going on here? And I took it back, and I started doing more research and talking to other coaches of this. And that's kind of where I started to develop and saying, okay, this is more psychological than physical. And as time has gone on and the years have gone on, you can start to see that. And so I incorporate all my energy into working on the mind game. And nowadays, like I said, when you look at it, and I tell this to all college kids now and that are moving into the pros, is that if I look at an NFL combine camp, there is nothing different between you and that other guy right there. You both lift the same. You both run the same speeds. You both can jump the same. You know, other than maybe one little glitch here or there, someone might run a little faster than you, but it's pretty much equal across that board. But it's the guy that has that mental toughness that can play from the first play to the last play of the game and still be just as strong, if not stronger, is what's going to succeed throughout your season and your careers.
It is so important to be mentally tough, and this is what I'm learning myself, and I'm so glad that you came on because I know a lot of people, and I've spoken to a lot of athletes, non-athletes, that say, you know what, I had that drive, but then I ran into a wall. This is what I want to hit next. How do you coach them up to, when they get to that wall, to run right through it? What is one of the biggest things that you tell people to run right through that wall when they hit it?
Well, I mean, everybody faces adversity at some point. I mean, there's no question about that. You can't always be in the zone, as I talk about throughout with athletes, and that's where you want to be when you're in the game. When you train, you need to train like you're going to be practicing as a starter, as an example. Yes, adversity hits, distractions hit, everything kind of can come at you. It's how we're going to place it and kind of redirect it into our favor. You got to teach what we call the 3 R's, which is you recognize when things are happening, you reset yourself, and you refocus. So if I can recognize that I'm kind of in that bit of that slump type of deal, I got to reset myself and realize what it is that I'm good at and how I can pursue it and keep moving forward that got me in this great position that I am, and I get refocused again. A lot of times you got to look at, say, a goaltender, in hockey. Goaltenders are constantly, they get good shots at them, bad shots at scores. They got to recognize what just happened. They got to reset themselves fast and say, okay, I got this, bring it on again, and they're refocused to go. Those are the type of things that really you got to play into fact. And that's how it is with every sport, but it also like that in daily life too. Adversity hits us all.
Shane McGowan joining us through via the Cleaver Supplements Hotline, talking mental game toughness on and off the field. I saw the website that you directed me to, and I will never forget the reference you made to one Phil Jackson. And it's legend that his Zen tactics made his teams better. I mean, 6 titles with the Bulls, 5 with the Lakers. It's about the mental toughness. How can people take that approach and bring it to life?
Well, and Phil Jackson is just one of the great coaches that did that with Michael in Chicago and the rest of the guys. And the way he really did that, if we go back a little bit, is saying, you know what, Michael, you're a great ball player, but you also have others around you. You got to trust them. And that's where it comes into, is to trust. Trust that they can do what they got to do to take that pressure off of you to always needing to be that person. And when he started doing that and opening up a little bit more and more and more, sure enough, the titles started to win. He carried that over to the Lakers, same thing. The titles start to win. When you look at football, Bill Belichick is probably one of the greatest coaches out here right now in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And that man will quiz you on the sidelines to keep you focused. He doesn't just sit back as cameras might just see him staying on that sidelines. He actually comes up to you and will ask you certain questions that you better have the answers for to keep you focused so that you know what's going on in that game. And that is a huge thing that coaches need to now start to develop, to have that, how can I say, that total control and their players being in control all the time and knowing, yes, this is my job right now. For these 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, I got to be focused and in the zone and ready to go. So those are the type of tactics and training that these coaches need to start using a little bit more of to be a little bit more successful as their careers go on.
I absolutely agree with that, because you got to keep players focused, because it's so easy. You've seen it. You've been around it. You've been in it. It's so easy for players to lose focus of the job at hand for those 3 hours, like you said.
Well, exactly. And then, like I said, I mean, there's so many distractions that we all can face at times out there, right? As a quarterback, I threw a bad pass and got intercepted, or I just threw a bad pass because of the pressure. I got nervous, or whatever it is. You got to regroup yourself real quick to get yourself back into the game. There are many, many, many distractions that we go through, and that's where great coaches will learn and help develop those athletes to say, don't dwell on it. Let's get out there. What is your job? Tell me your job. And when you look at boxers and other competitive sports that are sitting there for a minute in between rounds, they're constantly saying, focus, look at me, look at me. When you look at that eye contact, that's when you got the focus. Is when they start to wander around, it's like, okay, you're not really in the zone here. You're kind of zoning in and out. We got to get you on track. So there's many, many things that my job that I try to teach and help these guys work on.
And I can speak from personal experience. Distractions, until recently, always got the best of me. And once again, when you shot me your bio and, wanted to come on the show, I knew this was something not only I needed, but the fans as well, because I know so many fans and so many people that listen to the show don't realize how much it is more of a mental game, especially in sports, than it is a physical game.
Oh, exactly. And you're absolutely correct on that. I mean, look, we all wake up, and I've said it from before, I mean, whether you're playing in the NBA or whether you're playing just high school hoops, you know what I mean? Everybody is pretty much equal out there. But it's the guy and the girls that are the more, you know what, I'm in tune, I'm focused, I want this, and I'm going to bust my butt in practice to show it. And that's exactly how it comes down to. But it's also positive attitudes, too. You can't go into any activity without being positive. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have a negative wall already built up, or I can't do this, or they put their competitors on a bit of a pedestal ahead of them and things like that. No. You're the one that's in charge of that destiny. You're the one that has to have the high confidence to go out there and succeed. We all have what we call fear of failures. We fear of losing. We fear of our opponents. We fear of embarrassments, we feel of social pressure, we fear a lot of things. And I tell these guys, and especially kids, if you start working with high school kids, young kids, they get a lot of fears, a lot of anxieties, performance anxieties, as we call it. And you tell them, even the pros get that way too, but they believe in themselves so much that they erase that fear, those butterflies. You use it as positive energy. You use that as that excitement because I want to get out there and show my stuff and I want to play. That's how you got to kind of interpret it and let them understand that it's okay to have those feelings. It's good to have those emotions like that, but it's putting it in the right spot, in the right direction for you.
Why do you think so many people, let's just put it in the context of people, athletes especially, but why do you think so many people, when they get to a situation, already have a negative wall built up in front of them?
Well, everybody is different in that way where it becomes that reality check. It's like, okay, I'm here now. Wow. Now they let that one side. It's a lot of times it's easier to build up, or not even build up, but just have that little doubt, self-doubt come into you. And as soon as a little fraction of it comes in, it just carries away. It's like a tidal wave and poosh. And that's where we have to eliminate any type of self-doubt. When I work with people that are, say, as an example, fighters and things like that, leading up to a fight, there are no self-doubts whatsoever. There are no indications of negativity whatsoever. Everything is positive. Every practice, every training session, you're fast, you're this. You have to incorporate that daily to feel that and eliminate and exudate that self-doubts, because any negativeness like that will affect you at some point. It will become a distraction that you will feel it unless you can get rid of that right away. And that's what a lot of players are starting to do more. They do that, positive affirmations. I'm waking up this morning, I feel good. I feel great. Whether you had a bad sleep or not, but you're still waking up that way. That is how you have to kind of wake up in the mornings and start your days off. And it's like that in daily life too. I don't care if you're a stay-home mom or a professional athlete. You got to wake up with that positive attitude and say, hey, you know what? It's going to be a great day. We got to get going here and get that negativeness out of you ASAP.
It is so true, because this morning I did not have a good sleep last night. My shoulders were sore. I woke up, but it's like you said, you got to focus on the day at hand. Had to get my son off to school, help the wife around the house a little bit. Now I got this show going, and in the past, I know I can say if I didn't have a good sleep, I wasn't going on the next day, but this is like a huge step for me, and having you on is another big step for me to hear it, to hear you talk about positive affirmations and keeping going with everything and not giving up and not having anything stop you. It is so huge to, for lack of a better term, have that chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, yes, you're absolutely correct. And that's what it is. It's the chip on the shoulder. And I mean, like I said, we take this into everyday life. We're not just talking sports, we're talking everyday life.
Absolutely.
But you're right. We all have that chip on our shoulder. We can all have that little ounce of negativity. I mean, you're going for jobs. Well, the door's not opening up for you. The frustration sets in. Everything sets in. You really got to sit back for that second and just say, you know what? It's going to work for me. I know I'm good at what I do. That's what it comes down to, is knowing that you're good at what you do and pursuing it. Yeah, I know it sounds easier said than done, but guess what? When you keep getting people telling you this, you feel good about yourself. And that's where I come in my job, in my profession, is telling people this, but also proving it to them too. And when I look at sports and say, listen, you've caught this many balls as a receiver. You dropped one. You've caught it 1,000 times. You've got a Super Bowl ring. You've got this. I mean, you know you're good. You're right, I am. Let me get out there and show you. Exactly. So that's what it comes down to. You know you're good as a person. You're a great parent. You're a great mom. You're a great dad. You know you're going to get that job because you're qualified. It's just going to open the door. Just hold on. You got to keep that positiveness going all the time.
You know what? In talking to you, and I hope you come on weekly to talk about different aspects of this. Shane McGowan joining the Snowman this morning. And Shane, I cannot thank you enough. And just hearing those affirmations come from you, it's bleeding into me. And I know I can do this. I'm going to do this. And the show's going to be really, really successful because I basically started from scratch last Monday in rebuilding the audience and rebuilding the product and rebuilding the brand and everything. And I'll say it again, and I know I've said this several times during our conversation. When you approached me about coming on, I knew you were someone that I had to have on, and I hope to have you on more than once, man. This has been a great conversation, and there's so much more we can touch with this.
Oh, you know what? And I totally agree. And this is what you feel is the best excitement is when you just said you just started your show and you rebuilt it, you're rebranding it, you're redoing this whole thing, and it's a huge challenge. It's a chance. It's a make or breaker in some type of ways.
Oh, yeah.
But guess what? You feel awesome about it. You feel amazing because you know that this is what you want to do, and you're going to do everything you can to make it as successful, and you're doing it in the right direction in a positive way.
Absolutely. Shane McGowan joining me this morning talking mental toughness. And, folks, you got to have that mental toughness, not just in sports, but in life. All of our interviews all of our guests, I should say, appear via the Cleaver Supplements hotline, brought to you by Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough. Man, I hope to have you on a weekly basis because this is great. This is a subject that needs to be touched, and this is a subject that it's just a conversation that needs to happen.
Thank you, sir, and we will be in touch this week, and I hope to be on again.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, guys, and thank you for everybody for listening, and make sure you tune in because this man has got a great show.
I appreciate it. Before you go, tell everybody where they can find you online.
Yeah, you can reach me at mentaledgeperformance.ca. You can email me, coach@mentaledgeperformance.ca. Also, my Facebook there, as well as my Instagram, which is Shane7551.
Thank you very much, my friend. I will give your accounts a follow. Hope you do the same for the show and for the networks that are syndicating the show. Thank you very much. I can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day, and we'll talk during the week.
Thank you very much. That's Shane McGowan, the mental health coach that, just put a message inside my head. Listen, folks, you're going to run into a wall, but you got to fight your way through it. And part of the way that you do it is through some positive affirmations. Shane was great in being on here this morning.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
That's what? Are you kidding me? Need a little excitement?
You know what?
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
Gotta love stuff like this. Absolutely gotta love it. It's the express edition of Snowman in the Morning. On this Monday, we're working a few things in. Going to work a call-in segment beginning next week when we start talking all things Super Bowl 52 from Minneapolis, Minnesota at U.S. Bank Stadium. And I'm going to reincorporate the question of the day. And, matter of fact, let's do that right now. Let's do that right now. This is our question of the day. And you want to sponsor a segment here on Snowman in the Morning? Drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. So with almost a month in the books, the question of the day is, what is one promise you made to yourself that you intend to keep? Mine is restarting my health journey. And I talked about that at the top of the show, and I'll reiterate what I said. I gave up pop for good. not a Pepsi, not since January 3rd of this year. I haven't touched a Pepsi. I haven't touched a Coke. I haven't even touched a wild cherry Pepsi. Or a cherry Coke for that matter. I don't like Mountain Dew. I only had that once and I hated it. I absolutely abhor Mountain Dew. And yet when people come into my store at Speedway, that's all they buy lately. I haven't touched an RC. I have not touched an Orange Crush. I haven't even touched a Strawberry Crush. I haven't even touched those 99-cent pops that are all over the place in gas stations. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that just sit there and you only have and I'm having fun with this, you only have $1 to your name and you want to get something that'll fill you up for a little while and you see that 99-cent 20-ounce bottle looking at you going, come to me, come to me, come to me. Nope. Ain't touch it. Not going to touch it either. Absolutely not going to touch it. Period. I do not have a reason to touch it now. I got a reason to live. Hell, I got 2 of them. Members of my family. Sarah and Austin. The 2 reasons I have to live. And keep going. And keep doing what I'm doing. So that's my question of the day. What is one resolution/promise that you made to yourself that you intend to keep? You got a suggestion for a question of the day? Tweet us at SIT Morning. And let me thank the good folks at 3 and Out Radio for syndicating Snowman in the Morning each and every morning, Monday through Friday.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Next! What? Are you kidding me? Need a little excitement?
You know what?
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
Well, this flew by fast, didn't it? The Money Edition is in the books just about. As we come down the home stretch, this express edition of Snowman in the Morning. Tomorrow, got a few more NBA notes and got some college basketball notes and opinion of what I'm going to be looking for. As I said, it's going to be very minimal Super Bowl talk, but there will be some reviews this week. And then, beginning Monday, we go all over the place. You'll still hear Trey Larkins Thursday morning. And I'm going to have a little fun here to close out the show. So, I owe y'all an apology. I definitely owe you fans an apology. Because lately, and I can't understand why I've become this way, maybe it's my disenchantment with professional sports lately. Maybe it's my disenchantment with sports as a whole. Maybe it's just the fact that it ain't old school anymore. But why am I apologizing? Because I feel like I've let y'all down. And the reason I'm saying that is because I've let my fandom at times get in the way of bringing the facts. I made a post on Facebook about how I felt about one Russell Westbrook, and I got a lot of vitriol about that, just like I got a lot of vitriol about one LeBron James. What people need to understand is that everybody is entitled to their opinion, and Lord knows I have mine, and I will continue to have mine. But there's one thing there is one thing I will not do. I will not let my fandom get in the way of the facts. Even if it does concern Tom Brady, even if it does concern LeBron James, even if it concerns the reigning most valuable player of the NBA in Russell Westbrook. I actually uttered the sentence. I can't let my fandom get in the way of facts. Now, I know y'all love when I go on my rants, and I go completely off on a lot of things. I absolutely love when y'all stick with me about that, but one thing I will do more of is bring the numbers. 'Tis how I was raised. 'Tis what my dad taught me. 'Tis what I've learned. When you bring your opinion and mix it with facts, people can't argue with you. Oh, they're going to argue with you anyway. They're going to argue with you anyway, and I understand that. I absolutely understand that. And I realize that. But I got in my own way of doing what you fans that listen have charged me to do. And that's bring the honest and true sports talk. Bring my honest opinions, but also be prepared with facts to back them up. And lately, I have to say, I have not done a good job of that at all. I haven't. And I realize that. And I apologize to you guys for it. Now, this is not an excuse, but in life, people say things that just piss you off. And believe me, lately I've had some things said to me by some people who I thought were friends that royally pissed me off. But be that as it may, the facts are the facts, and I have to bring them along with the opinion. Period. I have to bring the facts along with the opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. You know, it's like my dad said to me and what Sarah repeated to me. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. But one thing that cannot be argued is facts. And I got away from bringing those. I hope today will be the start of me bringing those back. And even though I'm going to have some very opinionated thoughts about this coming NFL championship in Minnesota, or about the rest of the NBA season, or about the rest of the NHL season, or about Major League Baseball that's coming around the corner, the facts remain the facts, and I can't have a show anymore. I have my teams that I love. I have my teams that I watch. And I will always have those. But when they're not doing well, they're not doing well. And I got to call it out too. I got to be fair with all the teams. Even mine. I've gotten back into doing that and calling things with the Golden State Warriors when they were playing out of pocket. Like they did Saturday night in Houston. A game they nearly came back and won. And should have won. But they didn't. Plan to do that a lot more. It's only fair to the fans to hear both sides of the argument. It's only fair to the fans to bring back the rants that they love. Well, that'll do it for this Monday. I'm getting the heck out of here because I still got some stuff to move around and all kinds of other things. It's going to be busy. This coming week, it's going to be busy. And that's being nice about it. But I love it, and I love y'all. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Snowman out.